Hi there, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today we're going to go through some teaching reading practice test questions so I can help you with some of those nuances in the scenario-based questions. Now, this video is going to work for the teaching reading 5205. I have a study guide for that, but it will also help you with the 5206, the STAR exam, any teaching reading exam, and also any elementary ed exam that is assessing the foundational skills of reading. So pretty much any test you're taking, this particular video is going to help you. Let's get started. All right, so many of you have seen my work backwards videos and my good words, bad words videos, and you've been able to narrow down the test answer choices and zero in on good words and eliminate answer choices with bad words. So that works really well. But sometimes you will get very nuanced questions where you have to go beyond that strategy and really look in the question and identify keywords, and then look in the answer choices and identify keywords. So today I'm going to pull some of those questions from our teaching reading study guide. But again, this is going to help you with any foundational skills of reading exam questions. So elementary ed, any teaching reading exam, anything that has reading questions on it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to zero in on the good words, bad words, but we're also going to look at nuances inside the question. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so you know I'm always going to work backwards, so let's go with the answer choices first. A, engaging students in critical thinking activities. Okay, critical thinking activities is really good to understand the text. I like A. I'm going to put a little dot next to it. B, allowing students to read and reread passages they are successful with. I also like B because reading and rereading passages helps with automaticity, a very important skill. That repetition is key. And we have the term successful. We want to help students be successful in reading. That's going to help motivate them. That's going to help them, move on to the harder text. So I like B as well. C, providing rewards right away. Providing rewards is a bad practice on the exam. However, we know that they work. So a Jolly Rancher, a Blow Pop, whatever it is, works great with students to motivate them, but not on the test. So cross that off. And D, reminding students that reading is important for success in school. Oh, we know that works, right? Telling kids how important reading is? No way. They just look at you with a blank stare and basically think you're crazy. So we're not going to choose D. All right, let's go ahead and read the question here. Which of the following would be most effective? They're always going to put that in there in helping motivate students to read independently. Notice these key words: most effective, motivate, and to read independently at home and in school. Well, if we're trying to motivate them, allowing them to read passages over and over again that they're successful with is motivation. When they feel they're good at something, they're going to want to do it more. B is a better answer than A. Critical thinking activities are important, but that's more for increasing metacognition, helping students come up with questions. This is a motivation question. So while we use the good words, bad words here, we want to dig a little deeper and say, okay, reading and rereading passages helps with automaticity and success in the passages. And if we're looking for motivation and to read independently, we want kids to be able to read the text in order for them to read independently. And that's why B is the best answer. Let's have a look at another one. Now, right away with this question, you can see that my eye goes here to the answer choices, of course, but this right here stands out because there's an acronym, QAR, question answer relationships. So I'm going to keep that in mind when I'm reading the answer choices. A, distinguishing between explicit and implicit questions. Well, a big part of reading is figuring out if it's explicit information or implicit information, specifically in questioning. Explicit means that they're right there. You can put your finger on it. It's stated explicitly in the text. Implicit needs our inference. We are using information from the text, but it's not right there. We kind of have to figure the meaning out. And this is a big part of QAR. So I like A. I'm going to put a little dot next to it. B, identifying the text structure used in questions. This is actually a nonsense answer choice. Text structure is not used in questions. Text structure is used in text, whether it's cause and effect, chronological, narrative, descriptive. Those are all text structures, and this answer choice does not make sense. So I'm going to cross that off. C, determining if the questions require an answer or are hypothetical. I mean, it's okay, but It's not the best. I like A a lot better. I'm going to leave C just in case, but A right now is my number one contender. D, using words directly from the questions to respond correctly. Okay, using words directly from the questions is good, but this respond correctly is a red flag in an answer choice. It implies that students have to respond correctly. It's strong language, and we're looking more in terms of helping students respond, helping them figure things out. D, I don't love the language in D. I'm going to cross it off. Let's read the question. A teacher is using the question-answer relationship strategy with students to read informational text in social studies, specifically to answer questions presented in the reading. Which of the following does the strategy support? Well, A is the best answer here, because if we're looking at explicit and implicit questions, we are using that QAR strategy. The hypothetical here is not great. A is so much better. So I'm going to cross off C, making A our best answer. All right, let's try another one. Now, this one is asking us to choose 3. And when you have those questions, I don't recommend working backwards because it's hard to work backwards to identify 3. It's easy to work backwards to identify 1, but 3 is a little bit harder. So I'm going to read this question first. Which 3 of the following is the most appropriate way to use data to inform instruction? Keywords here: most appropriate, data, and the word inform. Informing instruction is a formative practice for formative assessments. We're using data to modify our instruction, to adjust instructional goals, to measure student success before we move on to the next thing. It's happening during the learning or before the learning. Let's have a look at A. Prior to instruction to adjust lessons. Yes, that is what formative data is used for. It is used to inform instructions, to adjust, to modify, to meet the students where they are. B, analyzing data after the adjustment of instruction and instructional goals. Well, the word after might trigger you to say, no, that formative is during, but adjusting instruction and instructional goals is happening during the learning. We might have a goal in reading, and we might see that students are struggling to get to that goal. So we might then adjust the goal a little bit to work on some support skills before we get to that bigger goal. So B is actually a good answer choice here as well. C, to determine summative descriptions for performance. Well, summative here is a red flag. It is not correct because informing instruction is happening before and during instruction. Summative is at the end. Summative measures outcomes. So C is out. D, to determine formative descriptions of performance. Well, formative data informs instruction, so it is the very definition. So I'm going to grab D. And E, to determine norm reference descriptions. Norm reference assessments use the data to compare student to student performance. We typically do not use these in the classroom to inform instruction. They are usually done by the state to compare, one state to another in reading performance, one district to another in reading performance. E is not the best way to inform instruction. I'm going to cross that off, leaving A, B, and D the correct answers here. All right, let's have a look at another one. We've got the answer choices here. Have students look up the definitions of new words. Definitions, looking them up. Bad word on this exam. That is not how we teach vocabulary. It's not the most effective way. So I'm going to cross it off. It's a key indicator. It's not the right word. B, have the students replace the words with easier words, replacing with easier words in a sentence. We do this sometimes. We try to say, hey, this word also means this. But on this test, we don't make things easier. We want to build in scaffolds to help students achieve at the higher levels. So B, that word easier is a red flag for me. I'm going to cross it off. C, use the words in context. This is on my good words list. In context and vocabulary is very good. And narrow the words down to a singular context. Kind of went to a bad word here. Narrowing them down to a singular context, a lot of words don't have a singular context. So I'm not in love with C only because it took a good word or a good phrase and turned it into a bad phrase here. I'm going to leave it just in case, but I don't love it. D, asking students probing questions about the words and have students support their answers with evidence from the text. Those are really good words. And D is looking like it's my number one contender. Let's read the question. Which of the following will help students understand and retain the meanings of words? Well, the best answer choice here is D, because when we ask probing questions, they're using their higher order thinking skills to answer those questions, and using evidence from the text reinforces the meaning of those words because they have to go back in the text and say, here is why I think this. And that helps them retain the meaning of words. So that's why D is the best answer. All right. And the last one here, let's have a look at the answer choices. Focus on words in the text that have similar spelling patterns. All right, spelling is okay. It's okay. I'm going to leave it. B, using recursive activities, good word, that focus on letter-sound correspondence. Well, using recursive activities means that we're going back and supporting skills that students already have and really fixing them up and then applying them to new skills and new information. So anything related to recursive instruction, recursive activities is going to be a good answer choice. It may not say recursive. It might say going back and fixing up skills and then using them again for harder questions. That's the kind of thing that recursive activities do. So I'm going to circle B because I really like it. C, orally manipulating onset and rhyme in words. Okay. Orally manipulating is a phonemic awareness. Whenever we do things orally or sounds, we pay attention to sounds only. That's going to be phonemic awareness. And in B, letter sound correspondence, that's phonics. So we have some differences here. We have phonics here. Also, spelling is phonics. And then we have orally manipulating onset and rhymes. This is phonemic awareness. Let's have a look at D, modeling how to break down words into individual sounds. Well, modeling is a good word on the test. I like modeling. And this, again, is phonemic awareness. So we have phonics, phonemic awareness. I need to read the question here. Let's go ahead. A teacher wants to help students maintain their phonics skills. Well, right away, just by reading that, C and D are out because they're phonemic awareness. Which of the following would be most effective? Again, most effective. Well, B is most effective. Using recursive activities. Letter sound correspondence is a key word for phonics. Letter sound correspondence. When I see the PH here, that's the letters. I know it makes a f sound. That's letter sound correspondence, and it is the fundamental skill in phonics. All right, so there you have it. Those are just a few questions you might see on any of your teaching reading exams or the elementary education exams that assess the reading process in the English language arts section. You may also see these on middle school tests for reading instruction. So pay attention to those nuances. Definitely narrow down with good words, bad words, but we still have to identify in the question those key words that are leading us to those correct answers. I hope this helped you out today. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.